attack out of the blue. Epir 3, The Two Feeders. This is a story about Frances, a white dove who discovers that wanting peace while secretly protecting another goal keeps the mind flying in two directions. When she becomes willing to want only one thing, the strain of choosing disappears. Frances was hungry. Below her stretched a beautiful garden with two bird feeders standing on opposite sides of a fountain. The feeder on the left was painted gold. A sign beneath it read, "Peace." The feeder on the right was bright red. Its sign read, "My Way." Frances laughed. That seems easy. She flew toward Peace. Halfway there, she glanced at My Way. The red feeder was overflowing with sunflower seeds. Frances banked right. Then she remembered Peace and turned left again. Left, right, left, right. A sparrow watching from the fountain called, "Are you landing or practicing aerial confusion?" "I want peace," Frances replied. She flew toward the gold feeder, "but I also want the wind to calm down first." She turned toward the red feeder. "And I want that noisy crow to leave." Left again. "And I'd like to know what happens tomorrow." Right. "And I definitely want peace." The sparrow ducked as Frances zigzagged overhead. "You have two destinations." "No," Frances insisted. "My destination is peace." She glanced toward My Way. "With a few reasonable conditions." The sparrow laughed. Frances finally landed between the feeders, exhausted. "How can choosing peace be so tiring?" "Maybe peace isn't tiring," said the sparrow. "Maybe keeping the other feeder is." Frances stared at the signs. She remembered how often she had prayed for guidance and then quietly supplied spirit with instructions. "Show me the way, as long as it is comfortable. Help me surrender, but not that. Give me peace after this problem changes. Guide everyone involved, preferably toward my solution." Frances lowered her head. "Two goals in one mind." The sparrow nodded. "And two goals require a lot of flying." Later that afternoon, Frances saw a robin struggling to build a nest. The branch he had chosen bent dangerously over the fountain. Frances immediately flew over. "You should move it." The robin continued arranging twigs. "That branch isn't stable." The robin looked at her. "I know. You know? I'm learning." Frances became even more concerned. She inspected the branch, studied the wind, examined the nest, and began explaining 3 better locations. The robin listened politely. Then he asked, "Did Spirit appoint you director of nests?" Frances froze. The sparrow nearly fell off the fountain laughing. "I'm helping," Frances said. "Maybe." The robin smiled. "Or maybe you're competing with what I'm being shown." Frances backed away. She had diagnosed the problem, designed the solution, planned the outcome, then called it guidance. She flew to the fountain and looked at her reflection. The red feeder seemed much closer now. My Way did not always look selfish. Sometimes it wore very spiritual feathers. As evening approached, Frances returned to the gold feeder. She closed her eyes. "I want peace." Then she noticed the familiar additions arriving. When the robin moves his nest, when tomorrow makes sense, when everyone agrees, when I know what comes next. Frances opened her eyes. The future was always promising to deliver peace later. But every promise required another condition. She looked at the setting sun. Nothing temporary could satisfy what she truly wanted. Not the perfect nest, not tomorrow's certainty, not another bird behaving correctly. Peace was not waiting at the end of successful management. It was available before anything changed. Frances looked again at the 2 feeders. "What if I choose peace completely?" The sparrow shrugged. "There's one way to find out." Frances hesitated. "What happens to My Way?" "Perhaps you stop feeding it." Frances smiled. She walked toward the gold feeder. Not flew, walked, one little step, then another. The red feeder remained where it was. Nothing attacked it, nothing destroyed it. She simply stopped choosing it. When Frances reached the gold feeder, she noticed something strange. The seeds there were exactly the same seeds. She laughed. The feeders were never the real choice. The sparrow nodded. The purpose was. Frances understood. The world did not need to rearrange itself before she could be wholehearted. Integrity was simpler than she had made it. What do I want now? Separation or joining? Control or guidance? My private solution or spirit's peace? Not both. The next morning, Frances visited the robin. His nest was gone. Oh no. Then she saw him 3 trees away, happily rebuilding. "The branch broke during the night," he explained. Frances waited for the urge to say, "I told you so." It came. She let it pass. "Need a twig?" The robin smiled. "That would help." Frances carried one over. No diagnosis, no management, no demand to be right, just the next helpful thing. As Frances lifted into the morning blue, she felt lighter. She had thought surrender meant giving something precious away. Instead, she had been releasing the exhausting privilege of being divided. One desire, one purpose, one peaceful mind. And with nothing held back, there was nowhere left for conflict to land. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.